And I'm joined by the hot one too. How you doing, boys?
Oh,
Hello,
Lee, thank you
good.
very much.
Thank
Doing
you.
well.
You're good. Glad to hear it. Obviously, a few days ago, as we speak, you released Superbia, a brand new debut album. From my point of view, it seemed like come last Friday, my phone absolutely exploded with everyone's reactions to it. And that was just the reviews and, posts I'd seen on it and getting tagged in because of you boys. I haven't previously played, just push play, of course. But from your point of view, how did you find the reaction to it? It seems like it's been absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, we've been absolutely blown away. I think it's been picked up a lot. I think the pre-sales alone were really we were blown away by the support kind of in the lead up to it has been great. But yeah, the reaction on the day, you honestly you couldn't put your phone down, and it's something that we've all spoken about together. Just like wow, we were we were hoping it would do well. We were hoping there'd be a good reaction. But to receive, the response that we did was incredible.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. And obviously, you based the album around the Seven Deadly Sins. Were you always going to approach it with a kind of loose concept, or is that something that just developed in the writing process of it?
Good one for Simon, I think. Here he is.
Yeah. Well, so when we first signed with Greg Dean and Tower Rock Management, he sort of we were like, oh, let's release the album sort of straight away. I mean, this was about a year ago, maybe. And he was sort of like, I think you need to sort of pump the brakes, build your audience a bit, and sort of like kind of release some singles throughout the year. And we sort of jumped on that, which was fine. But I think we kind of wanted to sort of make it more of a like a build up to it, not just drop singles throughout the year. And then that's when I sort of kind of came up with the Seven Deadly Sins idea and came up with the album name. And then just kind of all fit together, and the sins fit with the songs, and it all just nicely packaged together for a nice 7 releases in a year, which I don't think we'll ever do again.
Yeah, it was pretty hectic, wasn't it?
It was more luck than judgment, I think. But we pulled it out of the bag.
I think. Sorry, I was going to say I think that really helped though. Having the Seven Deadly Sins theme meant that as a band we always had something to promote throughout the year, so it kind of kept us fresh in people's minds. And obviously working with a chap called Freddie who did all our artwork for it, it was nice to have some fresh content going out. And with each release we then had the t-shirts, which then kept people going through the website and giving us traffic there. So I think the concept was great. I think looking back, we underestimated the amount of work perhaps that was going to be involved in it.
But
I think we're all knackered now from a 2023.
Do you know what? Just to add as well to the design standpoint that Kev touched on there from Freddie, something that's been really lovely that he's been doing this week is he's actually been sharing all of his design concepts and the reasoning, the rationale behind his designs.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is something that I don't know if you've been keeping up to speed with it on the old the Hot One Crew or Hot One 2 page, Lee, but Freddie is an absolute genius. He really is. And the sheer amount of detail he went into for each individual design, for the single, for the album artwork, how everything ties together. Like, there's detail in there that I'm still spotting. And it's insane what he's done. So I just wanted to say again on this platform, thank you to Freddie, because I think what he's done visually is absolutely stunning. And I think it's only just, it's become part of the Hot One 2's personality, I think. And he's been a massive part in it. So massive thanks to Freddie McKee. He's an absolute diamond, and we're hopefully looking forward to working with him again if he'll have us.
That's one of the things I loved about it. Way back when everything was still on vinyl and everything, the artwork was a big part of an album, and it was a big part of the concept. And these days, because even CDs are pretty much out of the water. Most people are downloading or whatever. The artwork tends to get lost, and in a thumbnail or whatever, you're not going to see it. But what I loved about how you guys brought it to the merch. You linked it all together, and it's almost been like a sort of a digitalized modern version of the old Gatesleeve album, where you just kept opening it up and more of things revealing to itself. And I thought it was a really cool concept, man.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of thought that went into it. There was a lot that we've we've learnt from it. And what I tell you, what I really love about the whole thing is when we're playing in different cities now and people are coming in with the different designs on their tops, it looks great. Like visually, looking out into a crowd and seeing someone with a Demon Days t-shirt, someone with a Tie Me Down one, someone with a Godforsaken Blues t-shirt, it looks really good. And
You
we
actually
found
see them having chats, don't you? Saying, "Oh, you got that one. Oh, I need to get that one." It's like, I've got to collect them all, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's mad because what we found as well is that we get more dedicated fans because they don't only buy one t-shirt, they want the whole collection.
Yeah.
So you're getting, in essence, seven t-shirts sold to every person, and it's maybe not every person, that's probably a bit of an over exaggeration, but most people buy more than one because they like the design, and it's just worked out really well. I think it couldn't have gone better throughout the year, really.
You find that having had those, like you say, you had all the singles throughout the year leading up to this point, well, up until last Friday when you released the album, that kept you in people's minds, because there's nothing worse from the listener's point of view anyway, where a band you love releases a really good single, the album's coming out towards the end of the year, and then it's like, right, I've got this one song which is promising a really fucking good album, but I'm going to have to wait 3 months, 4 months to the next single. Whereas you guys, it seemed to me from like press point of view, Dean was sending me, a Rolling Stone, and then you were coming in with your next one along from there, and it was great for me purposely, because it meant as a radio DJ I got to play new stuff from you boys all the time, which is what I want to do on the show, keep pushing new music, which is fantastic. I just wondered how you guys found that side of things in terms of keeping up, because it sounds like you had a hell of a lot of work to do it, and I imagine you did.
I think
Oh, go on, Simon.
I was going to say the nice thing about it was a lot of work. However, it was a bit kind of like having 6 dry runs for the album, because each time we did something, we forgot something or hadn't quite got that bit right or learned something new, that when it came to the album, it was like we had 6 dry runs of this and just kind of like hit it out the park with the album, which I think, as you said earlier, kind of shows with, the reception we got last week. But yeah, carry on, Bibble.
No, that's pretty much what I was going to say. I mean, it was a lot of work, but it's totally paid off. I mean, we did music videos with all of those as well, and I think we started filming them. I think that was about this time last year, wasn't it, guys?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a long time, sort of in the making, and yeah, we're really pleased to get it finally out there.
Yeah, but it's from a listener's point of view. It seems like on this particular, you've really stamped out, this is what the Hot 1-2 is. Obviously, you got your textures and all that and everything, but it really does seem like EPs are always experimental, and you're always still trying to find your sound and everything, and you're learning in the studio, and you're learning what works and what doesn't, and how to transpire your live sound. But it just feels like this debut album is just, here's a nice neat package of, this is the Hot 1-2, here's what we do, and it seems like a fully formed, could have been a 3rd or 4th release, if you know what I mean.
I mean, that's really nice feedback. We wanted to sort of come out the gate swinging, really, didn't we? We wanted to really make it with our album. So I'm really pleased that you feel that way. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you only released your debut album once, don't you? So you want it to be that impactful. You want it to be where people listen to it and they go, "Wow, I wasn't expecting that." Or some of the reviews we've had and some of the comments and private messages we've had is, I would have expected that from a major label. That's been a massive compliment, because we are an unsigned band. We have funded quite a lot of the album ourselves, albeit the Kickstarter. Without doing a Kickstarter campaign, I don't think we could have delivered it in the same way that it has been released. So we're very grateful to everybody that has got behind the band, and we were absolutely blown away by that as well. If you rewind 12 months and look at the trajectory of the band over 2023, yeah, we've worked bloody hard in terms of the album, but also on the road. We've had a very busy festival season. We've worked hard traveling the length of the country to try and build a following. And it feels like it's all been worth it. Just from the reaction of just that release, it's it's lovely.
You know what? Just to add to that as well, you say you only release your debut album once, but hopefully with things to come, we might re-release the 20th anniversary. Sorry, Manners has just sent me a reminder to watch my swear. I'm pretty certain I haven't sworn yet, just making sure. But yeah, I was just saying, maybe in 20 years' time, there'll be a Hot 1-2 re-releasing Superbia as an anniversary, like, deluxe package. So maybe we will release it twice. You never know. Let's see how the next few years go first. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but I can already see it happening. 20-year anniversary special. You heard it here first. It's coming.
Fucking Zimmer frame to play a bloody guitar.
I'm sure you'll be all right, Kev.
Yeah.
Keep it up at the gym, mate. You'll be fine.
Oh, yeah, that went out the window about 3 weeks ago, mate.
We'll get back to it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So did you change, obviously, other than having the sort of like the loose concept thing run through the thing of it, did you change your writing process, do you think, between like, you know, your last EP and then working on this?
Do you mind if I take this one, a little bit of it? We can share it. So it's an odd one because the last EP, a lot of the songs were all, you know, written quite some time ago. Some of them predated even Simon thinking about it, like Bleed On Me, Chains, Move and Shake and all that. So, and back in the day, it was just really me, Bibble and Manners. Bibble and I used to live together. We'd bounce riff ideas off one another. He'd take a riff and run with it and turn it into something magnificent. And then the vocals and the lyrics would always come second. And yeah, that's how Unrestrained was written. But with the album, again, Bibble had a back catalogue, didn't you, of all these song ideas that have just gotten better and better the more he's written. And he won't tell you they're amazing because he's too humble, but I'll tell you now, he is a phenomenal songwriter. And he's just sat on this wealth of it's kind of like the dragon from The Hobbit. What's his name? Smaug, sat on this pile of musical genius, and he's just sat there and he's just, you know, guarding it with his life. Anyway, I digress. The point is, he's got all these musical ideas, and you've got the pick of a litter, really. We were able to pick the best ideas that he had and then take them and run with them. A lot of writing, like, let's say, Tie Me Down, Rolling Stone and all that, again, so Simon came up with Tie Me Down pretty much the second rehearsal we ever had. He just nailed the chorus lyric. But so there were probably about 4 tracks on the album that were definitive. We knew they were going to stick, but the other 6, how we went about finishing them and writing them, it all happened over lockdown. Because we could have just sat on those 4 songs and been like, that's another EP, but it's like, no, let's turn it into an album. And the next 6 came, like, in terms of vocally, lyrically, the finished product and everything was kind of decided over Zoom chats. So I'll let the guys take over here now, like, just to break down kind of how we actually went about writing the rest of it. But Bibble, Manners, Simon, Kev, do you want to jump in?
Yes, I was just going to say that the nice thing about how we kind of wrote these songs over the Zoom sort of thing was we literally sort of we signed up to a Zoom account. One of us would sit at home and just share their screen with all the stems on, and we would quite literally be like, how's this bit sound? Someone would play it, record it. Nah, that's all right, that's good. And the same with like lyrics, we'd sort of sit there and have like like an online document open where we would just sort of just sit like we are now and just write lyrics. Someone would change something, we'd then say, right, we'll meet tomorrow. We'd go away, I'd try singing it. Some bits worked, some bits didn't. We'd do the same thing the next night, just write lyrics. And it was so nice to do it as a unit of people all chipping in, and not just sort of one person coming up with this or me just going away and scribbling down some lyrics. It was everything was all of us a part of it, which is so nice when you finally got it out that it was a part of all of us in the writing.
That's wicked, man.
Yeah.
That's nice that you guys all have the input, because, you know, sometimes you don't. Sometimes it's just sort of 2 key writers, and that's the way some bands work, and whatever works for them works for them. But I think it's always nice to hear when you know that everyone is adding their bits to the soup, as it were. Excuse me. So when you were writing, though, did you have like one song that kind of really set off the trajectory of it, or? Joe's already laughing, so you've either been asked this a million times, or Joe's got.
No, I don't think we've ever really been asked that, to be honest.
Right.
I'd say "Tie Me Down" definitely
Yeah.
kind of set the scene for the album, because I mean that was the first song. Well, the first rehearsal, or sorry, the second rehearsal we had with, or the first rehearsal we had with Simon. You know, he penned the lyrics to "Tie Me Down," and that's been a song that's been you know, out for the Hot 1-2 that a lot of people have heard for a long time.
Yeah.
So to release that properly on this album was something that we all knew we were going to do, and that was kind of one of the first tracks.
That was the benchmark, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah, I'd say so. And then from there, I think there were maybe two or three song ideas that we didn't go with, and they just didn't quite make the cut. And the rest kind of, it was all pretty much, you know, pretty easy to choose what was going on, and the songs that we really liked. I'd say it wasn't too tricky.
It was fairly easy to choose the songs that went on there. It was not overly easy choosing the order we were going to put.
Oh no, the order was a bit of a back and forth between us all.
Yeah,
the order and which tracks were going to be chosen for the singles as well. That was up for debate. We actually even put it to we have a fan group called the Hot One Crew, and we even put like a little secret poll out to everyone to decide which singles should be, which ones should be the singles, and that didn't help either.
It was muddied the water a little bit, didn't it?
Yeah, right, even better. Right, well, we have to just go with our gut, and in the end, we did, and obviously taking into consideration other people's suggestions as well. But yeah, we went with our gut, and I still think we made the right choice. But what's been lovely is something to consider, and this is one apprehension. Well, one thing that I was quite apprehensive of, and that was when you put out 6 songs from a 10-track album, you've just put out 60% of the album. What's, you know, and I was thinking, is that a bad thing or a good thing? And then you think there's only 4 tracks on there for a new fan or someone that's followed the entire journey to sink their teeth into. Will those 4 tracks that have been unreleased or unheard be enough to you know, sell the album to an existing fan? And I'm so glad I was proven wrong, because literally those 4 tracks, they've been the most well received, and they're the ones that everyone's been commenting on our pages saying new favourite, this track. So was it You've Got It, Something Real? They're becoming fan favourites, which yeah, we've just got to somehow weave into the set now just to keep everyone happy. But yeah, it's I'm just really happy to see that those unknown tracks are the ones that have actually been received better than the singles, arguably, to some extent.
And interestingly, you know, we've said before that we all assume everybody's heard all the singles, but I think what this release has shown us is that not everybody has heard all the singles, because the reaction has been across, you know, although Joe says, you know, the ones that are the most well received are the ones we didn't release as singles, but there are still a lot of people discovering the ones that we did put out, which is great. You know, it's fresh for a lot of people. So that is quite interesting to understand that, you know, a lot of bands say things change for them when they release their first album and the trajectory changes, and I'd be excited to see how that's gonna play out for us.
I think it's that thing though, isn't it? Like when people hear songs on their own, they form, like as a single release, they form one opinion. But in the, you know, in the landscape of an album, a song can really, depending on where it's sitting in the album, on what you've just heard before or what you've just heard in the build-up generally, can completely change your opinion. Because there's definitely been albums where the single's been released first and I've gone, oh, I don't know about that. But then listening into the concept of the album, you go, oh, that makes sense. I can see why, you know, it's maybe not one that you would have led with necessarily, or might not in your own personal opinion be, you know, a favorite on the album, but in the concept of the album as a whole, it works. I think that's probably what people are discovering.
Yeah, it could well be. We wanted to keep the sound fairly consistent throughout. But we wanted the songs to sound different enough so people weren't going, Oh yeah, it's just the same stuff that's just kind of regurgitated, you know. So it's great that people are finding, you know, things like Something Real in the middle of the album, where the album starts off quite fast paced, quite hard hitting, and then it kind of starts slowing down towards the middle, and then it picks up again towards the end. We wanted to have that kind of dynamics in there for people to you know, to understand that there's a lot more to us than just full out, you know, all out rock. There's other elements in there, which is, you know, which is great.
I mean, I've got to be honest, like when you know, you were kind enough to send us over the copy of the album for review and all that, and when I was listening to it, obviously, you know, I've been following you boys for a while. We've known each other a few years now, and obviously was playing the singles along the way. But when it got to You Got It, I Want It, fuck me, that that was where I was like, oh, this is cool. I'm driving away to work, and it was just like 6:30 in the morning. I had to go to the networking thing at work, and I was like, chuck the Hot 1-2 Boys album on this one. Yeah, straight up. And I think I offended most people on the way to work. But
we had a few comments actually, haven't we? This album's bad for dangerous driving.
It's definitely one where my foot was going down, Bill. Don't worry about that, mate. I'm sort of sitting there, and I was like, I don't need, you know, when you drive and you concentrate on the music too much, and you go, I don't remember driving that last 10 miles.
Yeah.
How did I get here?
We put a disclaimer out saying that we are not liable for any speeding tickets or any accidents caused on the road. Like yeah. So don't throw us under the bus.
No, wait, mate. It's a sign of a good album, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it's a huge compliment. Actually, absolutely, people are enjoying it. There, I mean, I think you need to get that sort of emotion up if it's going to affect you. Affect your driving, amongst other things, of course. So.
Absolutely. When you were like looking on how to construct the album as such, was there any sort of, you know, debut albums or albums in general that you guys loved that you were kind of going, we want to loosely, obviously it's going to be you guys, but that there were an inspiration in any way into how you wanted to construct it, how you chose the track list, for example, or something like that?
Not so for me, really quickly, not okay. So take the album title itself, All Killer No Filler from Sum 41. Forget the actual songs themselves in the album, which, by the way, phenomenal album, one of my childhood favourite albums of all time. But my logic was this needs to be an album of literally, it needs to be all killer, no filler. There can't be any tracks that you're like, yeah, okay, that should be on there. We need to fill a track, so we need to fill a number. So that didn't happen. I genuinely, like my approach, our approach. I'm thinking, I speak on behalf of all of us. Is, you know, there shouldn't have been a single track on that album that we didn't think was worthy of being on that album. So that was that's my 2 cents on that. But I don't know if the rest of the guys had any album in mind.
I think when it came to the mixing and the mastering, the overall sound, we wanted it to be quite punchy. I know certainly in my head, the Stone Broken Revelation album came to mind, because I remember hearing that one and thinking, that's really well done. Like I like how good it sounds. I like the fact that I can hear the separation between the instruments and the vocals are sat nicely. So I think, I mean, I can't remember now which references we gave, but that was certainly one that stuck in my mind when it came to the kind of mixing mastering process.
I think that was one that we did actually send to Jake, our engineer, to say that this is kind of where we're going at. I mean, for me, I think I wanted something from going into sound, something a bit raw and a bit live that has a lot of energy. I mean, a lot of modern rock, modern metal these days, I find is very polished, which is not a bad thing at all. I really like a lot of it, but it's a classic rock album ultimately, and we wanted it to be heavy and raw, really. And I think, but yeah, also with the good separation of the instruments and the vocals, and I think we've managed to sort of achieve all of that.
I think to add to that as well, like, I think the one thing that we do very well is sort of like our live performance and the energy of it. And I think that's kind of how we went into the studio, is how can we capture what we do live but in an album. And I don't know how we did it, but I think we did it.
I'd agree. I mean, that's one of the things I liked about it. It's not easy trying to get that balance between capturing your lightning in a bottle, energy-wise, and trying to transfer that, because we've all listened to albums where you see a band live and you go, oh, this is great. And then you go hear their debut or an EP or whatever releases they got, and you're like, they haven't captured them quite yet. And that can be down purely to a band's, budget earlier on in their career, or like having to do things a bit more in-house or whatever. And then there's the other side of the coin where it almost can be, like you were saying, they're all like, so far polished that it almost kind of removes from what they're doing live. It's not an easy one to try and get, balance right. But yeah, I think you're I think you're right on that. I think it has actually one of the few, especially on the debut, it's definitely one of the few that have managed to do it, mate. So I think you've done yourselves proud on this one, that's for sure.
No, thank you.
It really is crazy, the response to it. Even days after the release, people are still posting in the group saying, I still can't find a bad track on it. I really am enjoying it. This is an album of the year for me. That all the comments are so validating, and it has been completely overwhelming. And that's why I'm so excited for 2024. We're coming out of this year now with the album. We just want to be able to spend 2024 touring the album, pushing the album, and seeing what the reaction is from the live circuit. It's nice when you play some live shows and people come up, they want a picture or they want you to sign something. But it's going to be exciting now, understanding what that connection's like away from the venue. Do you know what I mean? So if they've discovered the band for the first time, to then go away, find the album, put the album on, that's what I'm most looking forward to, is the kind of backlash from that and seeing how that goes.
Nice. I mean, well, speaking of live events, obviously you guys were due to be, supporting Dead Man's Whiskey on this one. It shows that they did have lineup. Obviously, sadly, I've been speaking to Nico myself this week, and obviously Nico's not well with a sinus throat infection and everything else he's got going on. So hopefully that will get rescheduled, and all the best to Nico. But what have you guys got on the way of live shows lined up in terms of where people can come check out some of these tracks live?
What do we got? We still have the end of Dead Man's Whiskey in Liverpool.
Nice.
We've got Dementia Aware Fest in Coventry.
Yeah. I mean, the rest of this year. Sorry, Simon, keep going. You're right, you're on a roll.
I would give you the dates, but I'm using my phone and all the dates are on my phone. So I can't give you anything
Rock's got coming up, haven't we?
That's first of December is Winter Rock, so we got the 3rd of December is Planet Rock as well. And then we're kind of hopefully going to go out with a bang for the rest of the year at our album launch party, which you can get to at the Portland Arms in Cambridge on the 8th of December. And that's really the rest of the year. We're going to have a quiet December, which I think we're all pretty looking forward to.
You've been busy.
Yeah, I've been busy. And then we're over at in Hastings at the Carlisle, I think, in February. Just before that, we're headlining another Dementia Aware at the station in Cannock, which we're really looking forward to. We're really glad, really thrilled. Dave's asked us to headline that, because that'll be our first headline show of that kind of caliber. So we're thrilled with that. We got a couple of other bits in there. I think we're heading over to the Tivoli in March. I think we're at Hard Rock Hell again in March.
Careful you don't announce anything that's not supposed to be announced yet, Matters.
I think I'm.
You know what? Let's just say we've got already, and we didn't have this time last year. We've got 18 shows already booked in for 2024. To go into the new year with that already. I mean, if any others come in, great, and I'm sure they will. But it's already shaping up to be quite a busy year. And as I was putting together our availability calendar for our manager the other day, I was looking at all the dates we had. I was like, Christ, if we fill all of these, we're in trouble. In a good way. It's good trouble, I guess. But yeah, there's 2024 should be a big one.
Nice one, man. It's nice to say that you guys got some, some great shows lined up ahead of you. And obviously, you're talking about the album launch show you're doing there on the 8th at the Portland Arms. But other than yourselves, what else is going on in there? Have you announced a support act for it yet? I haven't seen.
Yeah, so we've got a fairly local band called The Forsaken, who are awesome band, really good, pretty heavy, pretty good. And
For
then
the eagle-eyed amongst you, you might notice that the singer for The Forsaken made a little cameo in the music video for The Fray. Little Easter egg there for you. Sorry, Bibble, as you were.
and then we got our pals in Scam. We've done a couple of dates with Scam recently.
Scam coming down for it, wicked.
Yeah.
It's going to be a partay. Not to be confused with a party. It's a partay, P-A-R-T-A-Y. It's going to be the real deal.
Yeah, it'll be a good show between them and you boys. I think it'll be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it. And it's one of those venues. It's one of the first we played, and it's our hometown venue. So what a better place to do it as well.
That's all, man. I mean, Jay, you were talking about the videos. Obviously, the videos going alongside the singles. Man, did you guys do some work on those? They look great.
Yeah, thank you. That was
video came out. It was like, all right, how did they up the last one? I mean, you know, it was brilliant all the way through.
Yeah. We can't take credit for that, mate. That's Kris Barras sprinkling his little magic fairy dust all over them, making us look like rock stars and like we know what we're doing. But truth be told, we don't.
I do remember actually, Lee, when you said, you know, the Fray came out, and I remember the message from the press release that you got, and you were like, guys, you've upped your game. Like, where did that come from?
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, we wanted to make an impact. That first single was very important to us. Like, we wanted to show this is kind of a new era. This is a more, you know, kind of seasoned band. Like, this is now new territory. This is album territory, you know. And yeah, the video and everything was well received. You know, Kris is a fantastic director. So easy to work with, very clear direction. We gave him a brief, we let him run with it, and we couldn't be happier with the outcome. I mean, the feedback we got was the video was very clearly translated. You know, it's quite a heavy video, to be fair, in terms of its meaning, but it was well translated, it was well received, and the impact put us on good stead for the rest of the releases, really.
I mean, this is it. I mean, as you know, I've been following you boys for a while now, and it just feels like with this album, the promise that I heard with Sings Like Better Than You Know and everything that came through to me in the radio station first time, where you're like, there's something here, there's something very cool here. And it just feels like all the promise that was shown in those earlier singles has been delivered with this album. Everything that I saw going, you know, throw more money at it production-wise and get more experience under the belt and hone your craft. And, you know, don't get wrong, Better Than You Know was brilliant. I loved it. That's why I played on the radio show. That's why, you know, we ended up talking and I asked you guys to play Just Push Play. But it's always that thing. It was obviously, you know, it was earlier in your career. It was a lot more raw. But it just feels like everything that was promised with that, with Superbia, you've absolutely delivered. That's just how I feel about it.
Thank you. No, that means a hell of a lot. Yeah. I think we just literally nurtured it and let it grow. And we didn't force anything either. And I don't think at any point were we like, oh, we need to go one up on that. We need to one up that there can be improvements. There's improvements that need to be made. It was just a natural growth, I guess is the word I'm looking for, in terms of songwriting and how we developed our sound. So, because again, like I always say, you know, songwriting, well, actually, this can be applied to a lot of things, but I always say that songwriting is kind of like a fart. If you try to force it, you're only going to make a mess. So, yeah, that was our approach.
Are you going to put that in the marketing for the extended release in 20th anniversary there, Joe?
Yeah,
maybe.
We'll all be in concert.
Grab some attention, won't it? If nothing else.
It certainly grabbed the attention, but that's for sure, man. So, you know, the album's out. What does the rest of the year hold out for you boys other than the live shows? And unless you're just trying to showcase and get it out there as much as you can.
Yeah, we just want to get around the country as much as possible, really, and play it. I'm not going to say there's going to be album 2 coming out next year, but I'm also not going to say that we're not going to work towards it. Yeah. I'll confuse myself now, but yeah,
not a double negatives there. We're not going to write another album.
Thinking in riddle, Bibble.
So yeah, I mean, writing is the part of it that I enjoy many aspects of being in a band, but the writing is one of my favourite bits of it. So I think now we've got a bit of time where we're just going to be focusing on gigs and not necessarily putting loads of videos together and all that stuff that accompanies it going out. I mean, I think we're planning to get doing a bit more writing.
I think it's our chance. It's our chance to enjoy, you know, what this arguably 2-year process has culminated in. Next year is our chance to just, right, let's just get out, gig as much as we possibly can, and like spread the word of Superbia and the Hot 1-2 and just enjoy it. That's my kind of outlook anyway. I'm sure, I don't know if the rest of the guys agree, but I just think it's all about spreading the word and just,
I think for me, like, one of the things I'd like to try and do in 2024 is just kind of cement the relationship between us and fans, because one of the things that we did do as part of the release campaign and the Kickstarter stretch goal was to have a listening party. And much like this, you know, we sent a Zoom link out to the backers, and not all of them attended, but a fair few did. And it was actually really quite nice to sit and have an evening just chatting with people, and, you know, people got to ask the questions that they wanted answering. And I think I'd like to try and build a little bit more on that and kind of cement that relationship and make it a little bit stronger.
Nice. Well, as you know, on this interview, we're going to air it on this coming Friday as part of the Hot 1-2 takeover show to celebrate Superbia. But if all of you could pick one song from the album to say to everyone who's listening, listen to that track, what are you doing? What are you picking?
Can we also can we repeat the track if someone else says one?
No.
Okay.
Let's go first then.
But for me, I'd say it was The Fray. I love The Fray. I think it's the right track to open with. I like the energy of it. I like the chorus because it's got a big hook in it. So yeah, go and listen to The Fray. Team Fray.
I'm going to jump in and say Feeling Good before anyone else does, because it's one of my favourites. I think it's a classic rock, balls to the wall. It's a major key, which just for me, it's a little bit different, and I just think, yeah, it's a great song. Really good song. I really enjoy it.
It's got to be Is It Hot for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to jump in there before Joe did. See, grimacing.
I think Joe had that in mind. Just a hunch.
Yeah. Oh, I love that song. It's fast, it's upbeat, it's quite. I'm a big sort of thrash metal fan, so I mean, it's not by any means thrash metal, but it has got that fast, like, driving pace to it, and it's got like a sort of long instrumental section at the end, which is it's always fun to play live. Yeah, it's just top tune.
Come on, Simon, will be kind. We'll get Joe a little bit more headspace to think. What you got there then?
Yeah, I mean, I would go Tie Me Down, but that one has been the oldest one, so I'm going to go with You've Got It because it's the easiest for me to sing. Yeah, no, and it's also nice. It's another song that I think, you know, that kind of, with all the tracks on the album, there's just a little bit of something for everyone. I think, you know, there's something a little bit different, and I think that track again sort of turns everything on its head, of sort of our writing, what the song's about, kind of the lyrics and the groove of it. So yeah, I think You've Got It. It's a good one for me.
Clear. God, okay, right.
I've got the hardest place, to be fair, Joe, being the last one. So
yeah, I'll try and pull something out of nothing. Well, that's not to say that album.
Don't say that after 4 tracks.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a quote.
Yeah. No, what I mean is, no, Bedwood stole my favourite track, but do you know what? Probably because it captures the same, not captures, but it has the very similar energy to Is It Hot. I'm going to go for Demon Days. Several reasons. One, I've already just said there in terms of energy and pace, but I think for me, as can I call myself a songwriter? I guess I kind of can. For me, I think there's a no. For me, the lyrics and the middle eight. Some of the what's that? Sorry, Simon.
I say apparently you just fart and that that
Yeah.
creates magic. So
Yeah, that's not quite how the analogy was meant to come across, but no, for me, I think some of my favourite lyrics and again, I worked with Simon on these as well, but lyrics and melody that I've ever kind of brought to the table are seen in the middle eight of that track, where it goes into something of like a rock opera. And there's some really interesting things that happen. And I think it's probably one of the standout moments in the album for me, not just because of the writing part of it, but just how it all sounds, how it all comes together sonically. It's kind of a real uplifting moment. And I still, every time I hear it, as it goes into this little halftime bit in the middle eight, after Manners has done this crazy little arpeggiated run. Is that right? Arpeggiated. I'm a drummer, by the way. I have problems understanding things. And it just lands with Simon just opening it up into this glorious middle eight. It genuinely sends shivers down my spine every time I hear it, and I hope that it has the same effect for every other listener as well. So yeah, Demon Days. Yeah, that's all I got.
That's fine play, and well, as you know, like I say, we're doing this as a takeover, so we are going to play, several tracks from the album across the 2 hours of the show and everything, and as well as some favorite tracks of yours that you've been kind enough to send across. But out of all those 5 songs, what song do you think we should play at the end of the interview?
I mean, we finish our sets with "Tie Me Down," don't we?
Oh yeah, probably "Tie Me Down."
That was the first one that came into my head.
Yeah, same.
There we go then. Well, dude,
so live we do like a little sing along for it as well. So can we do that? Can we make that happen? Everyone sing along at home.
Everyone sing along at home. I thought you were going to ask me to do it. I was shitting.
Well, yeah, you can.
Yeah,
No, we're going to make Lee do it right now. Okay, Lee, are you ready? 1, 2, 3. No, I'm joking. Don't worry. Could you imagine?
There's a reason I interview bands and don't sing in one. You don't want me to start. I can mask it in a crowd full of people when I'm pissed, but I can't mask it here. So. But Dave, it's always been great to catch up with you. This is a great album, and we'll end the interview on Tie Me Down. And yeah, thanks for coming on, and thanks for catching up with me as always, man. It's good to speak to you guys.
Cheers, Lee.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Cheers.